Yes, YouTube, it's Ben Hawksworth at The Coach Consultant. Today, I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different, and that is about mindset, and that is about life, and specifically where people will come to you and say, you've changed. Just as a disclaimer, I am not a mental performance expert. I'm not a mental health expert. I'm not a life coach in any way, shape, or form, but I am someone who's had a substantial amount of experience, both personally and professionally, with changing, adapting, evolving, and someone who's basically built everything I have completely from scratch, self-made from the ground up. In this video, I'm going to be using quite a lot of props. So as a first starting point, we've got your environment. So your environment, basically, in this analogy, I want you to imagine that this is fire. I didn't actually realise there was water in that. That's Rob, my COO, who has a loaded water gun in the office. The next point is going to be the pot. And what I want you to imagine is this is a pot of clay. So this is just a lump of clay, what's sat on the table, got no shape, no structure, no anything. And then this is what we're wanting to create off the back of that clay and off the back of that environment. And then finally, this is going to be a load of areas that we're going to be looking at in terms of attributing to your environment. So the first thing that you've got to understand is if you want something to change, then you need to change its environment, right? So as simple as this possibly can be, when it rains outside, it changes the environment. When it snows, it changes the environment. People can snow on it. Right? When it's sunny, you can go and have a barbecue, you change the environment. So in order to create a stimulus and an action, you have to create some form of change in the environment. And via that change in environment, you will then be able to do what you need to do off the back of that. We have got the flame, which is going to be changing the environment. We've got a pot of clay, and then we've got the outcome that we obviously want, right? So for where you are right now, in order to change, to get to where you want to be, you are going to need to change shape. Right, regardless of wanting to, not wanting to, or listening to your friends, your peers, or your family, or whatever it is, if you want to change your circumstances of who you are, what you are, how much you're earning, how much security you have in life, you're gonna have to change, like regardless. So accepting change is the first thing that you need to possibly do. Then you've got to understand the actual process of how that's going to work. So when we're coming in and we're applying an actual heat or pressured environment to this, once we are starting to come in and take shape, as you will notice, imagine that's full, there's a hell of a lot more volume to that than there is there. So as the first part of creating change, you are going to have to cut pieces of yourself off, right? That is not about I'm going to cut off my arm. Obviously not what you're going to do, but you're going to have to cut off limiting beliefs. You're going to have to cut off low self-confidence. You are going to have to cut off any form of trauma. You are going to have to cut off any bad experiences. You are going to have to basically shape this into the most streamlined, efficient possible thing that you can by chopping bits of yourself off, right? And that's just with you straight away, right? Now let's move into your environment, right? As part of shaping yourself from A to B, you're going to have cut pieces of your environment off sometimes, right? When people are coming in and saying, right, you've changed, it might just be because you're not fitting the criteria of what they wanted or what they expected when you were at this point. So there might be people, and please do not go and just get rid of everyone in your life off the back of this video, but there may be people, there may be social occasions, there may be friendship groups, there may be behaviors, there may be actions that you will need to cut off in order to become who and what you want to be, right? Regardless of that not being one of the most nice things to hear you could ever imagine, because it isn't. Thinking, oh, I might have friends who I may lose as part of my business journey, but it's going to happen because you, with this person, when you were friends, or you had that situation, or you had that social event, or you had that environment, but in order for you to change, which you have to via the environment, or the complete opposite, which is a water gun, but the flame, to heat this clay up, you're gonna have to chop bits of yourself off, you're gonna have to chop bits of your life off, chop bits of potentially people away in order to become what you want. So when we're basically looking at environmental factors, for example, as a starting point, we're going to be coming in and we might have to change the environment, right? You might have to change your actions. You might have to change your attitude. You might have to change your routine. You might have to change your commitments. You might have to change your choices. You're more than likely definitely going to have to change your content, which is normally the number one area that fitness professionals get quite high anxiety over, because they're like, I'm scared of what my friends and family will think, right? But you have to get over that, and you have to change your belief system surrounding a lot of these areas in order to get to where you want to be, right? From that point, we might have to change his beliefs. We might have to come in and actually change our location. I can't count how many people have actually had to change their location to actually get to a point of changing the belief systems to take real action on their personal brand, on their future, and on their business. They actually had to remove themselves from a city or country or a location in order to see their true potential and buy into their true potential. Right? As part of moving locations, you are going to cut off and lose some things that you had when you were this shape in order to get to that shape. And then again, even little things, for example, a massive one for a fitness professional is you might have to change your appearance. You may have been like the person at school who, like, you were just going out at weekends, you were drinking, you were boozing. You can't really do that anymore, guys. Like, you're an online coach, you're a fitness professional, you're a personal trainer. You need to come in and represent what your actual offering is. You need to motivate and inspire people. So in order for you to become who you want and get what you want, you need to change your environment and change your initial state to get to that point. So before coming into a little bit of a different example on a whiteboard in a minute, all I want to ask you is change bad? If someone turns around to you and says you've changed, and you know full well that you are happier, you are healthier, you are earning more money, you have a better routine, you're having better lifestyle choices, you're not going out and getting absolutely drunk off your mind every single weekend. If someone turns around to you and says, you've changed, is that a negative thing? Right? But it's so common, especially in our community. I've had it so many times with clients where someone's come to me and gone, X, Y, and Z friends that said that I'm different now. Or I went out on a social occasion with my old friends, but it didn't really fit with them. Or I can't really look at myself compared to what I used to be like. And that's obviously in a positive state. But what you've got to understand is change is necessary. And the main thing I wanted to get across today is your environment is what is going to change that. So all of those factors that we've just spoke about there, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you a different visual example of you starting in your initial state and then getting to a point of doing what you want, having what you want, and achieving what you want. So we spoke about how change is good. There is nothing negative about change in any way, shape or form. And if you want to change your environment, you will change your shape and you have to cut bits of yourself off, bits of your environment, bits of your life to be and get what you want, right? Now let's look at the actual process that it takes to create change. So you cannot create change without action. So this is the law of life. So I cannot film on this phone unless I click record. I cannot start my car unless I turn the key. I cannot take a step forward unless I move my leg. So everything will always come off the form of an action, and then it's again how you can sequence those actions over time to create more change, again, which is going to lead to more progression. So if we look at basically a comparison here between the actions that you take versus progression, this is literally as simple as it goes. If you genuinely invest into taking action, buying into change, wanting to look at your life and who you want to be and what you want to achieve, and then simply just take micro actions, right, you will guarantee progress, right? Without question. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's eating healthier, if it's meditating, if it's sleeping better, if it's not having that drink, if it's investing into that program or mentorship, if it's speaking to someone or getting your peers or creating different content, starting a YouTube channel. All this is just micro actions. And every single time that you create a micro action, you will create a new form of progression. And a massive thing that I believe in basically is compounding momentum. I think that it's very hard for fitness professionals, and it depends on where you are in life. So I started at the bottom, guys. I'm not gonna lie. So if I went back to when I was 10 years ago, for example, right, my progression was much slower back then because I didn't have momentum behind me. Whereas now, when you compound all of these actions, these behaviors, and these lessons, you will create a massive rate of progress. And that's what I believe in, and that's what I heavily talk about with S3 Smart Scaling. With the system, it's about creating momentum. It's about building blocks on top of that, because all this is here is, right, I'm going to create change by doing a form of action, change, action, change, action, change, action, change, action, change, action. And yet it's never a linear process. That's not how life and business works. You might go up, you might go down, but as long as you have the mindset of turning around and going, right, I am going to create change, and in order for me to create change, I am going to create as many actions as humanly possible, then I genuinely believe that absolutely anything is possible in life. Right? But what people do is they will basically look at, let's just say that this is bad colour, but let's just put this as a star here, right? So this is a terrible star, by the way, don't know what that is. But imagine that this is a star that everybody wants to get to at the top. A lot of people will basically sit at the bottom here and think, right, oh, I'm not where I want to be, right? What do I need to do in order to get from there to there straight away? There's nothing you can do. There is absolutely nothing that you can do to go from absolutely, right, I've not got what I want, to having every single thing that I want. The thing that you need to buy into is I need to change and I need to create action. And I need to compound these actions over time to create a day that I love living in, to create a week that I love working in, to create a month that I love reviewing, to create a year that I can't wait to start the next one. Right? When you create that type of compound like reaction over time with sequence and action and change and beliefs and understanding that you are going to evolve as a person, like that's what I feel like we're here for. Like that's what I believe in. I believe that we are built to get better. That's why we have multi-billionaires. That is why we have absolute ridiculous level athletes. So it's like, for me personally, like I'm a £1 million business owner. I'm not an athlete, I'm trying, but I love climbing mountains. I love doing ultra distance running because I know that, for example, I've created a lot of these actions and I've done a lot of these change points. So my level of progression now is I want to push for more, because what basically happens is as you get higher up the actions and you get higher up the progressions, your ceiling of what you see as that star changes. Like mine's like a sun here now. Like I'm literally just working up thinking, what can I achieve to get to that peak level dopamine? And that's obviously probably a lot to do with ADHD and behavioural ASD that I do have as well. But what you've got to take into account is the compound effect of the actions and the compound effect of getting more progress will lead to more momentum, so that 10 grand a month, easy, 50, 100, 150. I have clients who have hit £250,000 in a month, and they're like, because all they're bothered about is actions, change, progression, actions, change, progressions. And when you buy into that mindset and you buy into that process, I don't care what it is, whether it's money, whether it's buying a Ferrari, whether it's buying an 8-bedroomed house, whether it's going and having complete freedom where you want to have 6 months off a year and work on your laptop. Everything is possible when you buy into understanding, I need to change my environment. I need to change who I am. I need to change what I'm doing. And in order for me to change, I need to create a compound effect of actions behind it. My job is to make people money, being completely transparent. Bottom line, that's what I have to do. That's what I have to deliver on. That's what people pay me to do, to make them more money. But in order to make someone more money, I need to make the person first. And that is why with what we do, it's so paramount that people look after themselves, and why a huge part of the S3 Smart Scaling system is self-mastery, because without that you cannot handle high performance, you cannot set new actionables, you cannot reach new progression, you can't come in and create that change because you're so stuck within yourself. So again, if you want to find out more about our stuff, or again touching on the self-mastery aspect within S3 Smart Scaling, then there's a link in my bio. If you like this video, I love doing this video, I really did. I've not done a video like this in a very, very long time. So it's something I'm really, really passionate about, because it's what I think really does build robust, high performance businesses. So if you do like it, drop it a like. If you want to subscribe, I'd love you to subscribe. And if you've got any comments and feedback, please drop as many comments as much as possible below, sorry. I'm very, very open to constructive criticism. If something that you do want to see more of these videos, then I'd love to make more. But if you want me to just go more in line with business and marketing and sales and content, then that's absolutely fine. So I'll work off what you guys want. So see you.